This is the Tokyo Butter 23 sneaker channel, Tokyo Butter 23 no sneaker channel des. I bring you daily content from Tokyo, Japan. Mainichi absuru no de mainichi mite hosii. And it's really hard work to do that, but I still do it even though I have a full-time job, and this is a full-time job bringing you daily content, I can tell you, and a 1-year-old kicking around next door. But still, here I am every single day, daily content about sneakers, and today it's an absolute banging, popping sneaker. It's the Nike Air Jordan 6 Rings Taxi. So today, as I said in the introduction, it's all about the Nike Air Jordan 6 Rings Taxi, which is a poppin' looking sneaker. But I tell you what, I'm bringing you this review about this sneaker, and there's half of it that I don't like and half of it that I do like. What I like totally is tomorrow's review, which is the Nike Air Max 180 Berlins. Man, sometimes when I do these reviews, every review I research them, I check it out, I go and look at websites and things like that, and I find out as much information as I can. Sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I miss something out. But anyway, when I'm doing them, some of the sneakers I'm really into and some I'm not. Tomorrow's 180s, man alive, I was just drooling. My keyboard's covered in drool after I was just drooling about these guys. They're an absolute banging sneaker, and I'm totally absorbed in them. So definitely check out tomorrow's review of the Air Max 180 Berlins that I'll be bringing you. Today though, it's all about that Nike Jordan 6 Rings Taxi colorway that I do like, but half a shoe that I don't like and half a shoe that I do. Reason being that this shoe is all about the 6 rings that Jordan won in the 6 championships. He did 3-peats twice, 2 3-peats. The first one, I think I'm right in saying 91, 92, 93, and then skip 2 years, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, and 8. Am I right in saying that? You can hit me up with a comment if I'm wrong or right. I don't really care, to be honest. But hit me up with a comment if you want to. But the point is that the 6, 7s, and 8s, the Jordan 6, 7, and 8s, and the 11, 12s, and 13s are what come together to make this shoe. And I really am not a huge fan of the 6, 7s, and 8s. And I know that gets me in trouble when I say that to people out there. And people get very sort of frustrated with me for not liking those shoes. But that's my opinion, and I'm going to stick by it. The 11, 12s, and 13s, on the other hand, the 12s is my second favourite silhouette of all time. But the 11, 12s, and 13s in general, I think are really rocking looking sneakers. So you've got that really weird kind of hybrid effect already on these sneakers, but for me personally, 3 that I'm not behind and 3 that I am behind coming together. So let's have a look at which features of which sneakers appear in this hybrid sneaker of the 6 Rings Taxi colorway. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to start high and work our way down as we look at this sneaker, and we'll start at the highest point on the tongue where you see the furry Jumpman. And the furry Jumpman most often comes from the Jordan 8, so it's something that comes out of that Jordan 8 line, and right off the bat it's something that I'm not a huge fan of. There you go, I've said it. I'm not a huge fan of the furry Jumpman. I saw it earlier this year when I reviewed something. I think maybe it was the Flints. Maybe it was the Flints. Nah, I don't think it was the Flints. I think it might have been, what was that blue one? The blue sneaker where the player had gone from one team to another, so they couldn't call it like the Minnesota colorway anymore or something like that. I think it might have been on that. But oh no, they were 6s. I'm not doing very well here, but I always leave this stuff in. I'm not one for editing this kind of stuff out. So, but I did see that furry Jumpman on something that I reviewed in the past couple of months. The channel is only 3 months old, so it wouldn't be that hard for me to find out. But anyway, that furry Jumpman right there front and center on the top of the tongue, which comes from 8s as far as I'm aware, and I might be wrong in that. Hit me up with a comment if I am. Not a huge fan of. Moving down, you've got right below that furry Jumpman, you've got that lace holder, that lace lock, which comes straight out of the 6s. It might be used elsewhere, but to me it's most iconically used in the 6s, and it is a really cool looking addition to the sneakers. And when they get it right, as they actually did recently on a women's sneaker, which was the Millennial Pink, I think it was called, where the Jumpman was in dark grey, I think, on a pink lace holder. That looked really good, and this looks pretty good here too as well. I don't mind that lace lock or lace holder on there. And speaking of the laces, now the laces, I think I'm right in saying, come out of the 11s, or primarily come out of the 11s. I mean, if you look at them, there's no real way to say where they come from. There's not an actual sort of like definitive 11ness about them, because the 10s and the 9s had similars in there. But because we're talking about championship rings and the 6 rings, I'm going to go ahead and say that the lacing system itself, with those sort of straps that come up out of the upper, are from the 11s. Now, there are a few more significant features in that top half of the sneaker to look at. The most notable in the front top half are the 2 sort of straps that come out and around the sides there, which are definitely taken from 8s, Jordan 8. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the 6, 7 and 8s, and it's because of things like this that I'm not a huge fan of them. And then that brought forward onto these 6-ring sneakers. Again, I'm not a huge fan of seeing them there. They're a bit gimmicky to me. I don't know if they're more about sales and less about performance or look. Nah, I don't really didn't like them on the 8s, don't like them on these, to be honest. But then if you follow that strap round to the back, you get to that iconic 6 heel pull tab on there around about the ankle, I suppose, because these are a bit higher than lows. And it is that iconic 6 pull tab back there on the heel, which is a really nice pull tab, I have to admit, and I do really, really like it. Maybe if they sort of mirrored that with the 6 tongue, that would have been a really neat way to look at the sneakers. But having just that pull tab on the back there, as cool as it is, it doesn't seem like as enough of a nod to the 6s as perhaps these sneakers really would like to have. But then the sort of last place that I want to go to with these guys, even though there's a lot about the upper I could talk about, the kind of leather that they use. I think there's tumbled leather in there, and it is a nice upper and all that, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm more interested in the parts of which sneakers come together to make this a hybrid, is that outsole, and it's the iconic Jordan 13 outsole on there with that little disc. It's not the hologram. The hologram comes on the side of 13s. It's just a disc that goes through to Nike branding. But it's a really iconic looking outsole, even without any embellishment or colouring in there. So having the 13 outsole on the bottom of this is a big plus to me. But that's, to me, there's not enough from the 11, 12s and 13s, and there's too much from the 6, 7 and 8s on these guys to be my cup of tea. I would have much preferred to seen something like the 12 with that kind of 2-tone colorway going on there in the upper, rather than what they have with the 11s, but without that patent leather. So it's kind of, I don't know, they didn't really get the right best bits of each shoe, shall we say. Maybe they can't, maybe because you've got to think about functionality and performance. You can't actually just cram all the best bits in there, but I don't think they got the right best bits of each shoe. So to me, I'm not a huge fan of the 6 rings line. I do like this taxi colorway. I think they did a good job with the yellow, blacks and whites in there, and it looks like a really popping sneaker. But all in all, I'm not a huge fan of the 6 rings, and I'm not sure how many people out there will be either. So that's enough from me today. I just wanted to bring you that sneaker. Yesterday it was a sort of hybrid-y sneaker, because it was the Legacy 312 lows, where you've got the, let's see, it's the 3s, the 1s, and the... Oh, it's a double A, isn't it? I can't even remember. So, but anyway, whatever the other shoe is in the 312s, the Alpha Force, actually, I think I'm right in saying it is the Air Alpha Force. That was a hybrid sneaker. And then today we've got this 6 rings hybrid sneaker as well. Tomorrow, as I said, it's those 180s, which I'm absolutely in love with right now. And I'm totally looking forward to talking to you about them later. It's going to be a really great looking sneaker. For now, thank you for checking in. I always appreciate people checking out my content, checking out my channel, doing my best here, as I said, working full time, trying to bring a full-time channel, and a 1-year-old next door who's the absolute apple of my eye. She's an absolute diamond, as you can tell, because she's not screaming the shop down to get me back through the house. So thank you to her for that. Thank you to you for being here today, and all that remains is for me to do what I do at the end of every single video, and tell you that I will see you tomorrow.